promised, I got some people here with me to do the spoiler review, and we have some pretty interesting things to say, all the same. So, let's get into it, you guys. Avengers Endgame spoiler talk. Discussions, even.
Nerd things at its finest.
All right, we're here to do the Endgame review, spoiler this time, and I got people with me today to help me break some of this down because I can't just go off of my thoughts alone. I could, I'm not. So there's that. All right, so where do we start?
Okay, I think we should start with just the overall impression.
No, we're starting.
Yes.
It's already started.
Okay. the overall impression of the movie.
Meaning?
I thought the movie was good. I thought it was a good movie. However, I was a little underwhelmed with the movie at the same time. Like, I know they're bringing things to a close, but it's Endgame. I expected there to be way more action, like way more. You see the team coming together, like those moments where you see them all together. You're like, oh, woo! I just expected my mind to be blown with appearances and things like that, and I was honestly just kind of underwhelmed. I think there's some things they did. Like, we all predicted certain things were going to happen, so they tried to, like, deliberately not do those things, and I just don't.
They gotta keep in mind, they keep putting in these, you can't tell with these trailers because they put in scenes that are in the trailers that don't make it to the movie. And it's kind of hard to be like, okay, this may or may not happen. Like, they kept Fat Thor away from us pretty goddamn well.
That was so funny.
What did you expect? Like you said.
I know what she's talking about because it's the same thing I said.
Okay, like.
Or no, when you say appearances, what did you expect?
Okay, so now I realize that if they were dead, like, they weren't coming back. But I expected to see Quicksilver come back, Vision come back, Gamora come back, all of that. And which is actually crazy because when
Gamora
they
came back, it was just kind of
wait
like...
a minute. They went... Okay, I'm just completely skipping to something else right now, but I just thought about this. They went back in time before he got all the stones, right?
Why not go to Vision?
Where was Vision?
They had to get it out of his head.
No, they didn't get it out of his head. They didn't put it in his head yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
they would have to get it out. If they went to Vision, they would have to get it from his head.
Yeah, but that was already during the Wakandan battle.
Yeah,
he would have still been Jarvis.
Yeah, at this point, he's still Jarvis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, got you. Because I was
Ultron
like,
hasn't happened yet. They haven't even dealt with the Infinity Stones in Age of Ultron, I don't think, aside from the Mind Stone.
Okay, but I'm just... Okay, no, yeah, you're right. But in the past timeline... Oh, I guess the point was to not go back and try to undo things.
Which, again... I'm going to say this again the whole time. This is why I hate time travel, because none of it makes any sense. Because this is what I was saying in my previous video. There's probably going to be retcon in it. I'm hoping that it's not. And I hope they just leave it the way that it went. But even then, that wouldn't make any sense. Like I said, Cap went back and messed up the timeline. Loki already messed up the timeline because he took the Tesseract. If he took the Tesseract, that means he never made it to prison in Asgard. If that never happened, that means the Dark World never happened. That means Thor's mom probably didn't die. That means Loki never sat on the throne instead of and replacing Odin elsewhere, somewhere in Norway, on Earth.
Whoa.
And that in particular timeline, because if that worked out well for him, like the Ancient One said, yeah, it might work out well for you here, but that messes up my timeline as well as everybody else's, because you create a whole new one. That was just one, and then Cap going back, putting the stones back, it already messes up because he's not supposed to be there, but he spent a whole lifetime there. But he's still him, so he remembers everything.
But he went back and put the stones back to fix one reality, and then he made a whole different one by staying where he was.
Yeah, doesn't that defeat the purpose?
Honestly, yeah, kind of.
That's what I'm saying. So then what changes?
He went to fix that timeline, but then he messed it all up again by staying. But nothing changed because when he was
Not that we know of. If anything, that's what I'm saying. Not that we know of.
Nothing
If
major.
anything is going to change at
really.
all, we don't know what's going to change. If anything is going to change at all.
Shang-Chi and all these other weird things.
No, that's a good point. I get time travel.
I don't.
You get confused, but you're getting confused about things like, okay, so if he did this, then that means this and that never happened. No.
It just creates a whole nother
different
parallel.
timeline.
Yes, I know.
That's
the only way I can break down
about
time travel. I think the Flash did that very well by explaining that, because otherwise I would never get it.
Yeah.
Creating multiple different universes or timelines, which creates a whole different world or whatever. That's still confusing. That's still rough, but it's just kind of like, so then what's the real one and what's not? Especially if you're skipping from one to the next, how do you tell the difference?
There's more than
Because you don't know if this is your timeline that you messed up, or you just create a whole different one. Or do the events from you changing this one and you go back to your own, do the one that you go back to, it can't be the same because you went back to change it.
No, but you went back to change it. So when you go back to the past to change the future, it doesn't change your own future. You're changing the past. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I went across.
Yes. Okay. So it's like, let's say for my 20th birthday, you buy me a puppy, right? And today I'm X amount of years old, because I'm not gonna reveal that information.
Or should you?
I still have my puppy. So if I go back in time, if you go back in time and you hadn't bought me the puppy, I still have my puppy. You're not changing my future. You're going back and changing my past future.
All I got out of all of that was John Wick.
Because I've never seen that movie, so I'm just going to say,
I think it makes more sense when we don't try to explain it. But once you try to break it down, it's like, this makes no sense.
That's why I don't like time travel, because it doesn't make sense.
You're not changing. So if you go back in past, there's a whole separate you, because that you is in that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in Back to the Future,
No, we already established that was all BS.
That was all a lie.
But you know what I mean? Like that's how we've freaking thought about time travel all these years, based off of Back to the Future. Like, oh, if I accidentally mess up my mom and dad's relationship, then I won't exist. Type of thing.
That was something else I was gonna say too. It's like,
but then
that's another thing about time travel is
there destiny and fate that's tied in with this?
Destiny and fate. So it doesn't matter.
So a butterfly effect, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So
what
even
you
if you
do
mess
to
it up,
change
something
the
else is gonna
past,
come
it's
up to make it a thing, and that's what Bruce and Nebula did explain that. Even if you did take out Thanos as a young baby or whatever, destiny's still supposed to happen. It might not be Thanos, or it might be. I don't know. Maybe somehow he'll survive. But even if it's not him, it'll be somebody else that's going to be just as bad as him.
He had a twin brother, and nobody knew it, and you killed one, and that's what made Thanos bad, because you killed one, and the other one grew up evil because you killed his brother, and he's the
Which
real
is why you don't go all the way
Thanos.
back, I guess. You just go back so far.
That was funny when
Rhodey asked that question.
Hey,
look,
like,
I love Rhodey.
You can't go
Look,
killing babies.
It's Thanos. Like, of course you can go back and take him out. He's the guy to take out specifically. He took out all of our people. Yeah, we're gonna go do this.
That was a super black thing for me.
Look, first of all, he was completely black all the way through and through in this movie.
Hey, like, nigga, get out of here.
Look, these are facts. Between that and between him asking Captain Marvel, where the freak were you this entire time? Like, I think that's a fair question to ask in those moments.
Oh my goodness, no. Yeah. This is why we should have done a collective review a long time ago, because I have so many thoughts.
Well, on Captain Marvel.
For the sake of this video being not long, because we've already talked about time travel for 10 minutes, I have something I've been dying to bring up, and I know you know what it is, and so I'm just going to say it.
I don't.
Just kidding, you don't. Hawkeye. Oh, there it is. Hawkeye
There you go.
was one of the most useless. Oh my gosh. I get it, okay, in the comic, even in the show and stuff, he's like such a huge part of the team. But in the movie,
He's not just
in
a
all
huge
the
part of the
movies.
team. He was always the guy who was saving all of their butts all the time, often. He was literally the Batman of the crew.
Okay, first of all, Iron Man is the Batman of the
No,
crew.
he's not. He's the Iron Man of the crew.
They both,
He made his own suit. He doesn't have a utility, anything.
he has a utility armored suit.
That's
Oh, wait, are you talking
that's a
about
gigantic.
Hawkeye?
Yes, that's a
Never mind.
no. He
Okay.
doesn't have a utility, anything. He's a gigantic pocket knife
Okay, yes.
that flies.
No, because he has arrows that blow up. I call that a gadget.
That's why he's the
Wait,
Batman.
What am I talking about?
Stupid.
Oh, I just proved myself wrong. Okay, wait. So I think the fact that he
And he's mad acrobatic. That's why I kept saying they did not utilize Hawkeye properly in this entire thing.
Okay, yes. That is
Period.
true. That is
When they did the whole Age of Ultron thing, and like, it's gonna be Hawkeye's movie. Watched it. What? What
Yeah,
about
that
this was
movie
Hawkeye's
was not
movie? Why?
about
Because
it
he
at
helped
all.
get Scarlet Witch on the good side?
Yeah.
Because he monologued his way into the good for the other guys? Like, what are you talking about? Because he had a family?
honestly, I feel
That was his
like
movie?
They should have did away with him. I know that's not the Avengers. No, okay, but no, okay, hear me out. Okay, because it's like, I know I'm not the only person who feels this way.
No, I'm sure.
It's like they were trying to make him relevant. And because they were trying so hard to make him relevant, he was still just as irrelevant. Like, they didn't utilize him, like you said. They didn't utilize him for all his skills that he actually is known for. And then
He's basically Robin.
Like when
He's basically like Batman / Robin because he's got the acrobatics, he's got the hand-to-hand. He trains with Captain America on a daily. He's got the mad precision. There was a moment in the comics where he pulled off his fingernail and used it as a projectile. But that was the kind of savage that he was. He's a trained assassin.
Yeah.
And you gave us this guy.
Hey, they gave us Gamora. So
I
did
think
you
they're
really expect
ready.
anything more?
These are facts.
I think he's gonna be that guy in the next couple movies.
I don't think he's gonna be in the
Please,
next
let him
couple of
not be
movies,
in-
man.
No.
He has no reason to
They
be.
need to not.
He retired specifically so he can be with his family and stuff like that. And the only reason why he got back in the fight is because he lost his family. So now there's a common goal. Now that common goal is done and over with, and he's done, being, a dick, yes, then he can stop killing mob bosses and cartels and things and go back to teaching his daughter how to shoot an arrow and play catch with his kids and wonder if they're going to put mustard or mayonnaise on their hot dogs.
Maybe it's the end of white superhero men.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What?
There's still
what it is.
so many left.
No, maybe they're just gonna shift it to women and minorities.
Well, these are facts. I saw a rumor a while back they were going to talk about a Miss Marvel movie. Not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel. Not that Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, but Miss Marvel, the one that looks kind of like her, but she's like, oh God, I think she's Pakistani or something like that. She's basically got stretching abilities, so she's like Mr. Fantastic, but a minority. She's actually pretty raw. But I think she's in Inhuman, so that's probably when she's going to come around.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. Like, when they go to get the Soul Stone and it's like,
That was stupid.
oh, somebody has to die. I already knew it was going to be Black Widow. Because of the fact that they're trying to keep Hawkeye, I knew they weren't going to, like, all this time he hasn't had a big enough part, and I'm pretty sure, didn't Jeremy Renner, like, complain about that?
Yeah, he sure did, because his part in Avengers sucked.
But it only continued to suck. It didn't get any better, honestly. Did he get some more screen time? Sure. But
No, it was
better.
no, it was better in Endgame for sure, but that was about the best that it got.
No, the altogether, like, 20
No,
minutes
Avengers.
he was in the movie.
Avengers. The only thing that was cool about his part was the fact that he was able to shoot that one Chitauri shit without looking while he was talking to Tony Stark. That was it. Everything else kind of sucked about his role, his part. which I can understand because he spent most of the movie mind controlled. Then you get to Age of Ultron, you get shot, you almost died.
It's because he needs the cool suit.
No, nothing cool was about that. There was nothing cool about that suit.
That suit was awesome.
If you take off the mask, then sure.
No, so Captain America can wear that ugly gimmicky mask, but not Hawkeye? What?
Yes, because he doesn't have
Falcon.
Right. Falcon had that.
Falcon just had
Okay,
goggles. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, but
he
it was
still,
so weird.
they still made it to go. They like modernized it
He looked
while
like
he
a
was wearing the
70s.
goggles.
There's no way to modernize that without just making it
What
a
I'm-
hat, and
no.
there's no need for that.
They
He has
coulda- they
gigantic
coulda
wings
made
on
it-
his face. Come on.
Didn't Hawkeye, especially in the newer like shows and stuff, he was instead of him having the mask on, he was always wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, because they
coulda
based
gave him
that off
some-
of this guy.
Okay, well, they could have given him some. I'm just saying, they took Falcon's mask and gave him goggles because, I mean, they modernized it.
Yeah, because they had to make it make sense.
Right,
If
'cause
you
he
can't
used to
just
do-
magically sprout out wings and just start flapping around. They had to turn it into a jet. Yes.
You might be able to. It's you can.
No.
You don't have to You don't have to modernize everything. You can leave some things to fantasy. It's a superhero movie. It's already. Come on.
Well, yeah, the fact that they made these high-tech wings that can, fold in like that and expand out, and he can still fly at certain G-forces, yeah, that's already made up.
So they could make up a mask.
He shouldn't be able to do that just
Come
by
on,
himself.
That was a good one. They could make up a mask.
That would be there would be no need for it because it's a shield thing.
It's just.
It's not like it was even his own thing. Technically, if you want to keep it all fantasy or whatever, he should have had a Falcon that he could talk to because that's what the real Falcon did.
Yes. I'm all for that. I hate like Arrow.
Then we're
and
talking
Flash,
Aquaman,
when
then.
they gotta modernize these things and they have to
No,
make them make sense.
I like
Black
that
Canary
it's
should have
modernized.
had superpowers.
Yeah, me too because it
just
makes it make
because-
sense.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Stop trying to make everything make sense. Let it be. To me,
Why is the whole green?
Because gamma radiation. Even though he was originally gray.
He
Gray?
was.
He was originally
I
gray.
thought it was. Yeah, it was gray.
But that was only because of like printing issues and things like that. That was it. And then eventually they turned him into green for the gamma radiation because they wanted to give radiation a color, and apparently it was green.
Okay, let's talk about the Hulk.
I was mad disappointed. I was absolutely disappointed. I liked him for like the first. I was good with him for the first 10 minutes of the movie. Because I was like, okay, cool. But then when it got to like the scene parts where they're supposed to do fights and stuff like that, it was kind of whack because he didn't do anything.
No, he did. He picked up a motorcycle and he tossed it.
Oh, he had an attitude adjustment
Exactly.
problem. No.
No, that wasn't because he was mad. He was.
Oh, you talking about when he was
to
pretending?
be mad.
That
He
was even worse.
He just started tossing.
No,
stuff.
he was just comic relief the entire time, and it was
And
just
Thor
annoying.
wasn't?
Yeah, but at least Thor was gonna get down, and he did.
Yeah.
Hulk didn't do squat,
He
but
did
to
at
get
the-
burned, get his whole arm turned into the strong hand, snap, and that was it. In the big battle, I would have at least liked to see a rematch between him and Thanos. Didn't happen. I would like to see a rematch between Hulk and Cole Obsidian. Didn't happen.
Who?
Cole Obsidian, the big guy, the one that he fought in Infinity War in the Hulkbuster uniform. The big dude that ended up getting his hand cut off by Wong.
Who?
Oh my God.
What?
The gigantic alien thing that was with Ebony Maw when they dropped down. Wow, you're an idiot.
I'm tired. Wait. Oh, with the guy. Is that his name?
Wow, that narrowed it down.
The guy, the sorcerer guy. No, he's an alien. He's a wizard. I don't know everything.
What are you talking about?
The guy with the perm he got the perm.
That's Ebony Maw?
Ebony Maw, yes.
The guy that's with Thanos
Yes.
with
That's
the
his
perm.
rap. That's
Okay.
his rap name.
Ebony Maw.
Ebony Maw. Okay, you already know what it is. Checking in. Thanos, what you want me to do, huh?
Thanos.
Snap. We about to snap. Ebony Maw. Finish.
Okay, but you're saying that a big
'Cause in the-
guy that's with him.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know what big guy you're talking about.
Yes.
It's the son.
Well, I don't know.
They're all Thanos' children.
Not really. No. They're just soldiers. They're the Black Order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cull Obsidian in the comics always faced off against Hulk. That was supposed to happen in Infinity War, but Hulk never came out. So it was just Cull Obsidian against Hulk Buster. And then now the Hulk is finally out, and Cull Obsidian is back because this is the ones from 9 years ago. Expected to fight. Didn't happen. Kind of sucked. He was just fighting everybody with one arm because he sure wasn't doing it with the strong hand. So
I didn't even see. Did Hulk fight?
no,
No, his arm.
they
was
ran
burnt up.
up, but I didn't see him do anything.
I don't remember seeing him do anything either.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It
Okay.
was
so-
very underwhelming. They just
So-
found ways to continue to make him more washed.
I think. Okay, going back to
Like the most he had was the one in Age of Ultron when he went bad on Iron Man in the city. That was it. That was the most we got out of Hulk really doing anything major. And that was brainwash. That sucks.
Okay, look, going back to what I was saying about the overall movie, I think it was very underwhelming. The scene, like the fight scenes when everybody comes back, Doctor Strange brings everybody back. You see a person here go, and a person there go, oh, you're like, oh, look, it's Shuri. You see her go, pew, pew, and then, like, that's it. It's like everybody came back and you think you're about to get this massive fight scene and you see a couple people here and there, but you basically just see Captain America,
Thor,
Iron
Man, Captain Marvel.
Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Valkyrie. Okay, she was kind of in there.
Yeah, she was in there.
But you see, she had, and then kind of Spider-Man, which I honestly think his part was annoying. But you get all these people back, and then you don't even get this big battle. You just see them like struggling to get the gauntlet.
I mean, that's all it was really
And
about.
I get it, that's what they needed, but there's all this battle going on around you, and all we get to see is we don't see people are fighting for the world. And all you see these little tiny
Not even the world, the
cameos
universe.
Well, yeah, the universe, and all you see are these little tiny.
Yeah, she didn't even notice that M'Baku was in there.
I didn't notice
didn't
till
see
I
him.
saw his name
I
in the credits.
I saw him twice.
I didn't see him at all. And then Okoye comes out like she's really about to do something. Then you see her go, and then that's like the whole scene. You're just.
Time out. Let's talk about that for a second. I said this earlier to him. I was very underwhelmed with the fact that there was no Wakandan presence for the majority of this movie.
Okay.
I would have loved to see what life was like in Wakanda after they went up and bum rushed Thanos and killed him and everything. What was life in Wakanda? We saw how everybody else was struggling.
Yeah,
what about the Royal Empire?
Yeah, we saw we
didn't see
basically
anything.
Saw what the rest of the Avengers that were left, like what they were dealing with, and what like a little bit in New York City, what they were dealing with, sort of, for like a minute or two. You understood their sadness here. You didn't understand, like, man, he did a snap and it was like the rapture happened. Planes was dropping out the sky, pilots was missing.
5 years later, people's
trains were
streets and stuff like
crashing
that
and
still
stuff.
look post-apocalyptic. And, Paul Rudd's coming out, or excuse me, Ant-Man is coming out like, hey, yo, what happened here? Like, there's still pain still felt. Like, the kid looked at him and was like, man, F you, man.
But it's like, you understand. I think for me being in the audience, it's like you understand that there's pain, but it was like, it was pain for us as the audience because we know what happened to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't portray in the movie the pain. I don't think so. The pain that people were feeling because I know they showed that support group where Captain America was there with them, but it just
Which I
didn't
thought was great,
show...
by the way, because he ended up doing the same thing that Sam was doing when he met him.
True. I didn't even think about that. But yeah. But it's just like, you didn't see the chaos. Like, they should have shown... I know it was already a 3-hour movie, but I just feel like some stuff some parts they could have done without, and they could have put in something more meaningful. For instance, like that, you don't see what's going on in Wakanda. You don't see what's going on across the world. And didn't he snap other world?
He snapped the universe. Everything in the universe.
Can you show us that? Oh my God, this happened on another planet too.
Hold on, they did touch on that though.
But no,
they
Captain
didn't
Marvel,
go in depth, but they just touched on it.
I mean Brie Larson. Well, yes, Carol Danvers is what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
She said it for a second, like it's not just happening here, but it's
same thing that's happening on Earth is happening everywhere.
Saying these things to give us the information, but they weren't showing us what was happening, and so it just felt like it was.
That's why I wanted to see that in Wakanda, because Wakanda is still at least a part of Earth. We're still on Earth. Carol, F her and her other worlds. That's going to take too long. You're doing it by yourself. You're struggling. You got a new haircut. Okay, bet. Cool. Okay, we'll see you in a bit.
I like her.
Oh, yeah, no, it was great. But...
that wasn't heartfelt at all.
No. But I did like it, though.
I don't like it.
What? Gasp.
I mean, it's a wig, but I thought it was cute.
Yes, these are facts.
It looked like a wig. So.
Well, I mean, that's how she ended up looking later on when she got, on boss mode anyway, so it really didn't matter. But, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I understand.
Can she breathe in outer space
without
the helmet?
That's what...
Because she always has her helmet on when she goes out, and then she was just there flying. Her hair was all out, and her face was out.
That's what happened at the end of Captain Marvel, and we were like, so I guess we good with the not needing to breathe in space thing now? We good about that? All right, bet. Cool, I guess. Whatever. OP, I guess. I don't even care. When's Endgame?
Kind of plot hole, but okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, I would have loved to see a little bit more of what was happening with Wakanda, because no Shuri, no T'Challa, wasn't sure if the mom survived or not.
What's her name?
Who?
The queen.
Ramonda or something like that. No, it's not Rwanda.
I just made that up. I made it up.
We don't know if she died or not. We didn't see her until the end of the movie when everything was all good again, and they were back.
That's what I'm saying. You just see all these little seeds. You see her hug her kids and smile, and that's like.
Still love to see Wakanda at night. That was great, but it's just like, okay, so what was happening for the last 5 years? And then when, like I said before, when they rolled up on Thanos, it was like, hey, he's over here on this planet. Why didn't they go swoop and get Okoye or at least M'Baku of anybody? And like they were a part of that battle too. Like their home was directly affected by that. It happened in their home.
What do you mean, why didn't they swoop them?
Because they went up there to go get him. So why didn't you get any of the Wakandans to go up there and kind of help, do this too? Huh? Ramonda, see? Yeah, I would have felt a little bit better about that. Not just because I'm a black guy or whatever, but overall speaking.
They would have felt safer if they would have went and called upon the black people.
I'm just saying, if our family and friends get slaughtered in my backyard, and the dude gets away, and y'all find the dude that did it, I would expect you to come back and be like, "Hey, yo, we found the dude. You riding?" Because it happened in my backyard. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
But we don't know if M'Baku was there. He might have got snapped.
What do you mean he didn't have time for it? He used the stones 2 days ago. They were already late. Wakandans had tech. Like, they can't just fly over there immediately.
We don't know. Maybe all their pilots were gone. I don't know.
I'm sure Okoye can fly the ship.
She was busy. Look.
Like I said, which goes back to what I said. Wish we would have known what was going on in Wakanda during this time. Most we got was the little CGI screen of her saying, "Oh yeah, there was an earthquake over here, but nothing major." We don't bother with that. That was it. That's all we got from her until the end of the movie when she walked through with her king all big and bad and then did girl power things. And how did you not notice? I was looking forward to some of these in particular fights. You brought all these people in here. Doctor Strange came back. We saw how he went bad on it. He didn't do anything. Well, he did. He did stuff, but
yeah, he
was just there. Yeah, he was just there to let Tony know, like, this is the one shot.
Yeah, and that
Guardians. Why? Peter Quill's part was somewhat significant to let it be known, like, okay, him and Gamora, it's not the same anymore, because this is not. It was
It
significant.
really wasn't.
Because it shows that she's back and she's back in the picture.
That it's not the same. It's not the same her.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Yeah, but
That's why it's significant, because he's going to move on. But it's going to be weird trying to move on with the person who doesn't remember you. Doesn't even know who you are, because this is 9 years before you met her. There's significance there.
that does suck. All their history. Maybe they'll do it like somehow, like how I know Nebula's partially. She's like a cyborg. I don't know. So. Or an android, whatever you call it.
No, that's not going to mean anything. They have to go through like personal experiences to get that together. I don't think a memory from Sisters has going to do it.
You know, her memories were combined because of whatever wiring and her memory, whatever, all that stuff. They were sharing the same network. I'm saying maybe something like that will happen where
time travel.
Because where Gamora or all these people will get, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying somehow they'll get some of these memories back or something, because now he has to build a whole new relationship with her, with Gamora. I'm talking about Quill. He'll have to build a whole new relationship with her, and all that history is gone. So even if she falls in love with him and stuff, it'll like never be the same.
No, not
because
at all.
she'll never have all the things that they went through and all that time that they had to build
that relationship that took him a minute to even get to. He's like, quit playing games. I'm not playing games. All right, I'm playing games. Not going to be a thing anymore, because now she knows they're supposed to be together.
Stuff about his dad, like
all of that gone.
Yeah, and then I think that was kind of dumb that they went through all that. They found her 9 years before. We see, oh, she's gonna come back, you know, this way. She gets there to the battle, and he's like, oh, Gamora, and she's like, oh, this is the one, and then she just disappears. Like, what the?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's.
There's so many things there's so many.
Where did you even go? You're
like,
the past version of you in the future. Where were you going? How did you even leave? How did you take off? In what ship?
Yeah, they could have at least shown a scene where she was like,
just took
I
off?
can't do this. This is too much for me.
Because I thought she was going to be gone with her sister, but her sister Nebula is still with the Guardians on the ship. So I'm like, where did you go and what for? Because at least if nothing else, I figure you would have still been with the Guardians, or at least with your sister who was with the Guardians at least, or something. I don't know. I just expected them two to be together because they had a bonding moment.
It's all going to be explained in the Guardians movie.
By the way, welcome back, James Gunn. Old tweets. That sucks, bro.
Oh my gosh, you're hecka foul.
What? He's back. He even worked on Endgame. He was in the credits.
What did he tweet? I don't know.
He tweeted some very... We'll talk about that later.
Oh.
So anyway, time travel, right? Here's another thing of why I didn't like this. Because it was like just plot convenient. You mentioned it earlier. Nebula and the Wi-Fi sharing thing. What?
Wi-Fi.
What was that? Because if that was a thing, shouldn't of other Avengers who saw their former selves, like Steve's fighting himself personally, shouldn't that have been a thing?
No,
have the same memories of things that happen.
So no, let me attempt to explain it to you one more time.
Oh God!
Because when he goes back into the past, he's not altering his own future because he's already lived through all the things he's been through. He's altering his past self, his past self. Mm-hmm. He's changing his future.
Yeah, but he's saying memories.
Like, yeah, but it only activated because she was changing.
No, he won't. No, see, no, that's not why. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's not why. So if Captain America goes back and fights himself, he's not gonna. In other shows and stuff, that's how they do it. Oh, I remember this happening now. But no, he goes back to fight himself. He's not going to remember that because that didn't happen in his past. It happened in his past.
Yeah, but what about Nebula?
Okay, but with Nebula, that's what I was saying. she is a cyborg or an android, whatever you want to. I guess
She's
a
cyborg.
cyborg because she was not human, but
She's
whatever.
an alien.
She was a being.
She's
and then
she's
she got-
organic.
okay, so she's a cyborg. She ends up sharing her memory with the other person because through the ether ways, whatever you want to call it, through a network. Not because they're sharing the same memory, because they're the same person. That was something that was technical.
So Wi-Fi time travels.
No. So basically, she's a cyborg. So her memories are being recorded and stored in a database, not just in her mind. It's in a database. That's how he's able to replay what she's seen because it's being recorded. So when she gets near her other self, she picks up on, she's able to like sense things that are also, I don't know
Yeah,
what
but
the
they
word
never-
is,
they-
but like
it was just-
electronic.
It's just sporadically happened just
Live
because they were
recordings
there.
Like blurted out when they weren't even near each other.
Because okay,
Yeah, it busted
so
like her memory was
it's like
too full.
saying, it's like saying if you take your computer, if you bring your computer over here and you have your Wi-Fi on, it's gonna pick up a signal. Oh, there's heck of Wi-Fi locations over here. So because she is a cyborg, she's gonna pick up when there's other signals that come near. Like she could probably be like, "Oh, there's a ship coming."
Yeah, that
she
makes
can pick
sense.
up on those things.
Yeah, but
That's-
the ship wasn't near them yet. They
No.
made a
They were in a,
She started picking up those memories when Nebula was off of they were off the ship. They were on the planet.
I had her thinking about this because this is stupid.
They weren't on the ship. They weren't in the air. When they landed on the planet and they told what's your face, "Oh, be careful," when they went off in the ship, those two, Nebula and who was she with? Because I forgot. Rhodey. They weren't on the ship. They were on the planet. They were, and she was like, "We need to be careful because we're not the only ones who are here." She was there herself. She knew she was there.
No, she knew she was going to be there.
Well,
she wasn't there yet.
She
I
knew she
think-
was going to be
but
there.
didn't her first vision happen before they even did all that?
Yeah, they were still on Thanos' ship, somewhere off into space, on their way to probably go towards Morag, but they definitely made full speed ahead when that stupid thing popped out of her head, out of nowhere, and they were like, "What the F? What's going on here?" Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's weird that it just kind of came up out of nowhere. Like, it shouldn't have been a thing.
And then the first time, it seemed like it made sense, but then it just kept happening.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's something like that, like, oh, my future self is here, so now my memories are starting to mesh with my past memories. Shouldn't that have been a thing for some of the other Avengers? Like, at some point in time, or is it just because she's mechanical? And if that is the case, then why is it only working for her just because she's mechanical? It's a memory. It shouldn't matter. And that's why I think that part was stupid. That's just a plot convenience.
Trunks, right? Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Okay. He came back to Goku and them,
Oh, God, I hate time travel.
and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna give y'all this medicine because y'all all die from being sick and get beat up, and y'all die because I don't want your future to end up like mine." When he went back to his own time, it did not change his future. He still didn't have a dad. He went back to say, "Hey, y'all, I wanted this chance to know my dad, and also to say, this thing is approaching. I want you guys to be prepared for it so that you don't have to have the same outcome I had." That's what I'm trying to tell you about Captain America and the Avengers. Their timeline has already happened, so he's going back so that them in the past don't have to. They're doing all this to stop them in the past from having to relive.
Yeah, but
this.
that's
It's a
what we're
separate
talking about. So
timeline. So it's like
it's a separate
just like
timeline.
Trunks.
So no
Captain
matter what
America
he
goes
does
back.
in the past, now that he's like helped them correct whatever, they're gonna keep going and their timeline is gonna be fine. But his timeline is still gonna be effed up.
Well, nobody's gonna say it's gonna be fine, but they're not gonna have.
They're not gonna have the
The
android
point is
problem,
to try to stop them from the android problem.
which failed.
So no,
Yes,
not in
Androids-
the
Androids still came.
Yes, but none of them died. Okay, hold on. I take that back. Wait a minute.
Pretty sure Bane one died.
Okay, well, Goku didn't die of sickness. Bam. There.
He almost did.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, yes, Captain, so, I mean, Trunks, he goes back and he says, it's like this. If Trunks goes back and says, Goku, you need to take this medicine. Well, now Goku is not on the path to dying. And because Trunks came back, he can warn them about things and they'll make different decisions. That's why it doesn't change your future, because you've already lived out your decisions. You go back and tell your older self, don't make those decisions because I don't want you to live the same life I did. So now your older self, your younger self, I mean, is going to live out a different set of decisions. It's like when you're playing a role-playing game. They give you the option, do you want to pick A or B? You pick A. Then they give you another option. Do you want to pick A or B? You pick
That's a
B.
better example.
What's the game we played with on PlayStation? We love that
Life.
game. On PlayStation.
Monopoly.
Oh my gosh, and I was always Scarlet Witch.
Oh, Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yes, Ultimate Alliance. So remember all those choices we made? In the end, all the choices we made, it chose the outcome. So if we had made separate choices, we would have had a different outcome. We go back, we play the same game, we make different choices this time, and we have a different outcome. That's what they're doing in the movie. We played the game once, we picked A this time, we picked B that time, we made all our decisions, we came to this outcome where in the end we were responsible for heck of people dying. And then we went back and played the game again and made different choices, and in the end we were responsible for something else going bad, but we weren't responsible for all those people dying.
Responsible for the X-Men disbanding.
What really doesn't make sense is why the past Nebula was remembering things that the future Nebula saw instead of future Nebula remembering things that the past Nebula saw. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No, she
said-
figured it out afterwards. She was like, "Oh God, they know," but like, why didn't she notice that the first time?
But why did she know? Why did she say that?
Because when they finally got the stone, the power stone and everything, they were set to mark. She got in their suits. They shrunk. They were supposed to shrink down. Rhodey did. Nebula didn't, because she started spazzing out and her head started doing that thing or whatever. And then she saw that they saw what was going on, and they were just like, "Oh God, they
right.
know." So she went to go run through the ship and warn Barton and
messed up in the whole time travel.
Exactly.
Thing.
That's why I said
okay,
no.
with that, because it makes sense. What I'm trying to tell you, I feel it makes sense. But that
No, the way you broke it down, that made sense. But it's just like, what are you guys doing?
They just was like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen to explain this, and we'll just put that.
And this is how we get Thanos back into the picture, basically. Again,
Yeah.
Plot control.